يا راغبا في كل علم نافع.
ينمو العلم ويتقدم بتقنياته ومجالاته، ومعه نطور أدواتنا في تقديم العلم الشرعي. أكاديمية زاد.
زاد أكاديمية ينبوعها صاف ليروي غلة الظمآن. هذه عقيدتنا الصحيحة فطرة تنفي الشكوك بواضح البرهان. بشرى لنا زاد أكاديمية للعلم كالأزهار في البستان.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Continuing with Islamic Creed Level 1 and the principles that we need to be upon in understanding the sound Aqeedah. We said the Quran, the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and the consensus of the early generations of Islam, which is understanding the Quran and the Sunnah, the authentic Sunnah, according to how the Sahaba radiallahu anhum understood it and the early generations of Islam. This is one of the foundations, one of the principles of having the proper understanding of the deen. Otherwise, a person is a deviant. Because the people of innovations in the deen, they would have all kinds of statements according to their understanding and according to their way of thinking. So, for example, you would find the Khawarij attacking the companions radiallahu anhum, calling the believers disbelievers. The Rafidah, the same thing, they attack companions of the Prophet ﷺ. They don't look into the text and the wahy from Allah. They refer to actions done or happened in history, for example, according to their own interpretation. Where is the wahy? Where is the Quran and the authentic Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ for a person to understand it the way it was understood at the time of the Prophet ﷺ? And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to the Prophet ﷺ at the time of the Prophet ﷺ the verses that says وَمَن يُشَاقِقِ الرَّسُولَ مِن بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ الْهُدَى وَيَتَّبِعْ غَيْرَ سَبِيلِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ نُوَلِّي مَا تَوَلَّى وَنُصْلِيهِ جَهَنَّمَ, warning those who oppose the way of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam after guidance has been made clear, and they follow other than the path of the believers. Who are the believers that the verses were revealed to address? The companions radiallahu anhum. So the verses are saying those who follow other than their way, the way of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, then they will be among the people of the hellfire. Also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about the disbelievers, فَإِنْ آمَنُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا أَمَنْتُمْ بِهِ فَقَدْ اهْتَدَوْا. If they believe in what you believed in, then they are guided. Who is the verse referring to with saying بِمِثْلِ مَا آمَنْتُمْ? What is this آمَنْتُمْ? What you believed in, addressing the companions radiallahu anhum first, and those who followed them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ آمِنُوا كَمَا آمَنَ النَّاسِ قَالُوا أَنُؤْمِنُوا كَمَا آمَنَ السُّفَهَاءُ. When they are being told believe, meaning the hypocrites, believe as the people believed. Who are the ones believed at that time? The companions radiallahu anhum. So the point here is, this is the belief of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. The understanding of the Sahaba, it is something that is obligatory upon every single person in the Ummah of the Prophet ﷺ. And the famous hadith that we need to memorize, that the Prophet ﷺ did not leave his Ummah like this, to be confused and to be going back and forth with these deviant ones and so on, but rather he says فَإِنَّهُ مَنْ يَعِشْ مِنْكُمْ فَسَيَرَى اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. Whoever lives among you, he would see many differences, and that's what we see. So what to do, O Prophet of Allah? He says وَإِيَّاكُمْ وَمُحْدَثَاتُ الْأُمُورِ, and be warned against the newly introduced matters. فَإِنَّهَا ضَلَالَةٌ, indeed it's deviation. فَمَنْ أَدْرَكَ ذَلِكَ, whoever reaches, whoever witnesses these differences and newly things get introduced and so on, what to do? فَعَلَيْهِ بِسُنَّتِي, then let him be upon my sunnah, my way, and that's preserved. وَسُنَّةِ الْخُلَفَاءِ الرَّاشِدِينَ الْمَهْدِيِّينَ, and the sunnah, the way of the rightly guided Khalifa after me, and that's preserved. The understanding of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. عَضُّ عَلَيْهَا بِالنَّوَاجِذ, bite on it with your molar teeth. And therefore there is this bid'ah or innovation in the deen, that sometimes people, they want to deviate away and take people away from the religion by saying let's re-evaluate, let's re-understand how the nusus, how the text is to fit the 21st century or the time that we live in, and so on. This is all corrupted and a deviant belief, of course, and it's very clear to them. No, we have sufficiency in the understanding of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, and this deen of al-Islam is universal at all times and at all means whatsoever, right? And these people, they just want to permit what Allah forbade in many different other ways, in ways that might even sound as if it's fair seeming to the people, the liberals and the like of them. So this is opposing, of course, the usul, the principles of the people of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, because this is bid'ah, this is innovation in the deen, was never known to the early generations of Islam. The best generation ever brought to mankind, خَيْرُكُمْ قَرْنِي ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, the best among you are my generation, then the one come after, and the one that come after. And it's clearly against what the Book of Allah, the Quran, and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ are upon, in which we, as we heard some of these nusus, we are commanded to follow the understanding of the companions radiallahu anhum, and anything that comes after that, it's in the categories of innovations in the religion, deviation, where kullu bid'atin dalala, every innovation in the religion is deviation. And that also comes into the ways of distorting and altering the meanings of the revelation from Allah, which there is a severe warning that happened to the nations before when they altered and they changed, and the same thing happens to this ummah, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the difference here is that the original text and the original understanding of the text among the companions of radiallahu anhum, all of that is preserved, so that always going to be people upon the truth. Unlike the nations before, it's lost. They're not able to bring back the way things it was at the time of their messengers. So they want for everyone, each one, to have their own understanding to the Book of Allah, to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and this is basically the chaos that wants people to do, as it happened to the nations before. يُحَرِّفُونَ الْكَلِمَ عَمَّ مَوْضِعِهِ, when they altered the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from its place. And of course, it opens all kinds of evil and corruption. To have the Book of Allah, the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, according to the people, play with it the way that they like, and understand it and interpret it the way that they desire. Of course, this is all destroying really the people by making them deviated away from the truth. So this is a very serious matter, and that's why from these usul is, as we said, the Quran, the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, the understanding of the early generations of Islam, which is a must, and one of which is, of course, this Book of Allah, the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, are in the Arabic language. So to understand the nusus according to the Arabic language that was spoken at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ قُرْآنًا عَرَبِيًّا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. We're living at times where people would work on the translations and they start making principles and start making verdicts without learning the language of the Quran, not just learning it for a few years, but to be well established and well versed upon the Book of Allah and the understanding of it and the way of the Prophet ﷺ. So that's why the path of knowledge, and for us to follow the truth, that requires patience and requires for the person to be saved from all of these distortions and these deviations by allowing oneself to be always firm on these principles, because anything that we'll talk about afterwards is based on these principles. The Quran, the authentic Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, the understanding of the early generations of Islam, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, the Tabi'in, the Imma of this deen. So this is a mandatory thing upon us, especially with matters of Aqeedah, to follow this. So we'll stop here inshallah ta'ala. Next time we'll continue with more of the subjects of matters of Aqeedah. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
يا راغبا في كل علم نافع
ينمو العلم ويتقدم بتقنياته ومجالاته، ومعه نطور أدواتنا في تقديم العلم الشرعي. أكاديمية
زاد أكاديمية ينبوعها صاف ليروي غلة الظمآن. هذه عقيدتنا الصحيحة فطرة تنفي الشكوك بواضح البرهان. بشرى لنا زاد أكاديمية للعلم كالأزهار في البستان.